If you're reading this, you're a new entrepreneur. Welcome, BOSSTIEs, let's grow more and more.
Hey BOSSTIEs, welcome to a very special episode of Entrepreneurish. Today we are speaking to Mr. Eric McHugh, and we are talking about building your business like you mean it. He has built AI-aligned businesses, a dating app that's fully AI. Is that what I was reading in your profile?
Yeah, it's actually the first ever AI-powered matchmaking service, and our intention is to match a billion happy couples by putting our users in the position to succeed.
Oh, okay. I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah.
We're going to get really, really deep into that. But BOSSTIEs, for you, I wanted you guys to know that we are focused today on how you build a purpose-driven business. We are talking about what you have to do to evolve as a person in order to succeed, and the things that you need to know that have helped Eric and myself along the way to our success. So you guys stay tuned, and we're going to get started with learning a little bit more about Eric and his background. So Eric, you are a serial founder. I saw three things that you're building right now. Can you tell us about who you are and what you have going on?
Sure, it's nice to meet everyone. My name is Eric. I'm very blessed to be living in beautiful Los Angeles right now. My main hobbies are chess, Muay Thai, reading, anything under the sun, and meditation.
Okay.
I got back from a Vipassana meditation retreat, and that was one of the best experiences I've ever done. And so if that interests you, feel free to check it out. So I plug that in everything just because
No,
it's been
awesome.
so helpful.
It's definitely something I've been learning about, but haven't had the chance to experience. So.
It's hard work, but it's honestly the best thing I've ever done.
Okay. Hard work as in, did you have to do a lot of internal reflection? Was that the hard work that you mean?
Yeah, so it's just 10 full days, meditation all day, no looking at anyone, no talking with anyone, just wake up at 4, meditate the whole day. So it's just 12 hours of straight internal work. And if you've done internal work, you should know it's not the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir. We have all sat there and done maybe an involuntary 12-hour day, but it sounds great to sit there and actually put some time into your mental health. So that's wonderful. How do you think that helped you with what you have going on? Or maybe the better question is, why did you feel like you needed a meditation retreat?
Yeah, so it's not that I felt that I needed it. So when I was younger, so I guess past work experience, 9 to 5, I was Snap consultant. And after that, I went to the entrepreneurship route. I was very fortunate to found a SaaS platform, and it got incubated in one of the best incubators in the world, which was in Santa Monica. Okay. And an incubator is essentially just startup school. So there's our startup, next another startup, next another startup, next another startup, all in one big building.
Wow.
So at a very young age, I was surrounded by a bunch of different CEOs, CTOs of different companies of different levels and different verticals. So I was networking my way through that, obviously grabbing lunch, learning as much as I possibly could. And I've noticed a trend that amongst all the most successful people, well, I mean, everyone's successful in a different way, but you know what I mean? Amongst all the most perceived to be successful people by the general public, they're all on a spiritual journey. Like a lot of them meditate. I remember one time specifically, I'm like, hey, do you want to grab lunch at 1? He's like, no, I can't. I have to meditate. I'm meditating at 1. I'm like, what do you mean meditating at 1 on Tuesday? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So obviously I ignored that for a while because I was go. But by this time, like I was reading books, meditating, getting into it, and someone I really trusted recommended the Vipassana meditation retreat. He's the third person who recommended it. So I'm like, YOLO, signed up, got accepted to the course. Just went there with no expectations. I didn't know it'd be 10 full days. I didn't know it'd be complete silence, but I'm very grateful that I went. And from a business perspective, I'll explain to you why it's so helpful, because I believe everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. So when you're saying you're at a certain emotional state, so you're loving, angry, hateful, peaceful, enjoy, you're just saying I'm vibrating at a specific frequency. And just like a radio station, when you turn to a specific radio station, you get that station. So when you're angry, you're on the angry frequency. So that's why you attract some angry people. But on the flip side, when you're the loving, peaceful frequency and you're trying to help people, you're on that vibration. You're attracting that type of people in your life. And that meditation retreat really set that in stone for me. So now, like, you close the meditation, by storing your energy in the crown chakra,
Okay.
and then wishing everyone in the world peace, love, and happiness.
Okay.
And the cool thing is when you're wishing people that, like subconsciously, you attract people who are also wishing you peace, love, and happiness. And that's just and I found that's just a much better way to do business. So now when I do my network events, when I go in, I'm with that mindset and I find those type of people and we do business, and it's much better than that. It's like, imagine like we were trying to go, you go to an event, like I'm going to get this from this person, blah, blah, blah. You're going to get that type of person in your life. And business-wise, it's not ideal.
Yeah. I live in Atlanta, so this is a very we're starting to become a go city. We used to be laid back. I think the more we become like a hodgepodge place, it gets a little less Southern hospitality. And so big thing for me was feeling like if I left the house to go network, who would I find and would it be worth the time to spend? Imagine you have a 9 to 5, you feel like you only have this much time to spend on your business, things like that. What can you say to the bossies who are feeling limited in maybe their thinking or feeling limited in really in their thoughts, like feeling like if I go here, I'm feeling nervous about going here, so maybe they don't. Because I think that's a big thing that holds us back is doubt without any type of evidence.
Yeah, so about that. So I would say your thoughts are one of the most powerful things in the world. And I think your thoughts actually create your reality.
Okay.
So if you go into an event feeling nervous, feeling like it's not going to go anywhere, it's like Schrodinger's cat. So what Schrodinger's cat is, like, there's a cat in a box, one's dead, one's alive. Your thoughts actually influence which cat it is. So like if you think it's alive, it's alive. If you think it's dead, it's dead. And it's been documented by science where if you actually pay attention to particles, they behave differently. So there's a reality where your network event, you crush it, you meet the exact type of person you have a great time. And there's also a reality happening at the same time where you have a terrible time. And whichever one you would put your attention onto is what actually happens. But to get more tangible with that, I found that I go to my networking events if I feel like I don't want to go, or I trust my gut. So I know, I think time is very important. So I'm not going to all the networking events, but I feel like this one's good. I feel like I'm going to meet the right people. I make a commitment to go, and then I just go. Okay. And it's like one of those things. It's like, I understand like having a 9 to 5 and trying to build an entrepreneurship business can be hard. But the thing you have to do is just get started, because once you start, the path appears. And that can be something super simple, like, oh, I have this idea. It's just there. It's nothing. Maybe just create a Google Drive. Great, I have a Google Drive now. What then you naturally says, like, what goes in my Google Drive? I need a biz dev folder. I need a marketing folder. I need a tech folder. Well, I have a marketing folder. What goes in the marketing folder? And then, I'll probably need some social media accounts. Here's a social media folder. Well, I can't have a social media account folder without any social media accounts. Let me see if those domains are available.
I see what you're saying. You slowly open doors for yourself with each new advancement in trying.
Correct. The worst thing you can do is just not start.
Gotcha. Got you. That was definitely a hard part for me. I kept saying, I'm going to post, and then would never post. I would talk myself out of it. So it took me about like a year before I could get very, very consistent. So the big question I want to ask you is, how do you stop really kind of outsourcing your power to those thoughts and kind of start trusting your gut, the way you said, making your own frequency, making the reality that you want?
Yeah, so I've realized where your attention goes, your energy flows. So if anything doesn't serve me, I just kind of stop paying attention to it. And I realized the way I look at gut is your subconscious. So in your like right now, us humans in our conscious mind, we can't notice like 99.9% of the things that are happening, but your subconscious does. And I think that's your gut. So if you're seeing like 50 bits of information out of millions, but your subconscious is capturing all of that, your subconscious is relaying that information through your gut feeling. And that's why you should always trust your gut.
Oh, okay. I think that's awesome. Because honestly, if I'm going to be real, if I'm an analyst in my day job, right? So everything is numbers. Look for facts. And then when I decided to be an entrepreneur, there's not really like facts to look at.
No.
It's a lot of gut. So
because you were living in the unknown, and the unknown can be scary, but with the unknown is where growth happens.
Yeah. So what do you do when you have that like imposter syndrome? Like, I'm sure if you didn't have it, how was that like? And if you did have it, how did you get past that?
I don't have imposter syndrome because I believe in the power of authenticity. The way I look at it is, I think people are happiest when they're serving other people. Like if you give someone $20 versus taking $20, you just feel better. And I think that everyone is the best of them in the world. So I'm the best of me in the world. You're the best of you in the world. If you try to be you, or if I try to be you, I can't beat you at being you. But if you try to be me, you can't beat me at being me. So logically, what's the best way to serve the most people at scale? It's to be authentic, because you're being the number one, whatever you are in the world. And that's how you're going to serve people. Because if there's something passionate that you really want to do, you're number one in the world at it. So you just start doing it. And that's where starting happens, because then you figure out the path as you go along.
Okay. So it's really trusting that this business is yours because this was your thought. This is what you decided to do. This is your path. And then just going forward. What happens when you hit a real world obstacle? So let's say you were looking for particular funding and it fell through, or something along that line where it feels kind of like I was trusting my gut, but it doesn't seem like it's going the right way.
Yeah, I believe that God or the universe or whatever you want to call it has our best interest at heart, and we're too small-minded to understand the full plan. So if something happens that seems bad to me, I know it's part of God's plan, and I trust God's plan. Like, for example, funding gets rejected. Maybe that wasn't the right funding source, because I've had companies collapse because we took money from the wrong funding source. But yeah, gotta trust the plan.
Okay. So it's really looking beyond the obstacle. Just look past it. Just keep staying focused on the goal at the end of the day.
Correct. And all events are neutral, so you can always assign a different meaning to that event. So like, let's say your funding got rejected, you'd be like, oh no, I'm out of money, this is terrible. But another way to look at the event is, well, looks like I dodged a bullet. This could have been the wrong fundraiser. I'll find the right fundraiser, right partner to work with.
Got you. So you're saying take the moment and tweak that frequency. Like as soon as it happens, just be like, we're on a good frequency with this. This was in the right direction. And
gratitude is one of the highest frequencies you can have. So if you're thankful for everything, then if you're grateful for stuff, you get more stuff. If you're feeling scarce, you get more scarcity.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a big one. What is your advice to somebody who wants to launch something really big? Because what you're doing is really big, but they're not really sure the world is ready for it. How do you navigate in that space? Because a lot of our bossies are creating things that no one's ever seen. They're creating in spaces that people aren't sure if that's even profitable. Things like that. What's your advice for them?
Yeah, you make the world ready for it. And the thing about having a big grandiose goal is it's important to have that big grandiose goal, because it gives you a place to aim. Because if you're putting your attention on that, you're going to reach there, but you have no idea how you're going to reach it. Like, for example, matching 1 billion happy couples. I mean, we're going to do it. How are we going to do it? I don't know. We're figuring out day by day, starting new things. And the name of the game is really just optimization and trying different things and figure out what works for you and going down that path.
That's awesome. So let's go back to your incubator days, because it seems to have been like something that was very, very useful to you. You met a lot of people that have already built something big, so you could see yourself in that space. What does it mean for you to build in alignment? Because it sounds like that's what everybody was doing. They were building in this meditation space, in this I'm gonna make it space, in this very aligned space. What does that mean for you?
Yeah, so building in alignment, I think that everyone has two purposes. I feel that everyone has an inner purpose and everyone has an outer purpose. Okay. I think everyone's inner purpose is to raise the collective consciousness by raising your own vibration. And how do I do that? That's your outer purpose. So the outer purpose is your business ventures. They're your natural gifts from God that you use to raise those vibrations. So like for me, it was cool to see a bunch of people doing stuff that they love, making a positive impact in the world. I'm like, oh, if I see other people can do it, I can do it as well. And honestly, the learning, the meditation, the imprint it had was it was great. Plus, obviously, you meet a bunch of people, so my network grew tons from that.
Yeah, this is what I mean. The number one quote that I quote the most on this show is that your network is your net worth, and it's so true. I didn't know that, because honestly, from my background, there weren't a lot of women who looked like me who owned a business. They might have worked for one, or maybe they did hair or something like that, but having like a full-blown CEO type lifestyle was just unheard of for me, or even being able to work from home. And so it wasn't until I started joining groups with lots of different women from lots of different backgrounds where I could start to see new futures for myself, or different pathways, things like that. So for you, when you say raise consciousness, how are you doing that? How are you exposing people to new pathways right now?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things I did it on this podcast is, I think one of the best things you can do is help raise a collective consciousness. So the reason I would go on podcast is, I mean, it's fun to promote your business. And honestly, you meet a bunch of cool people on podcasts, so that's great. But if one person leaves this podcast better off than they were, what happens? If they're like, one person leaves us with a higher vibe, they go out in the world, their vibe is slightly higher, it raises the vibe around them, and the vibe around them, and the vibe around them, and it creates like a cycle of positivity. So that's the main reason I go on podcasts.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I think sometimes as podcasters, as creators, we get so focused on views, on engagement, on sends, on these number things, but we forget that the entire purpose of us starting this business was to, like you said, grow consciousness, have a positive impact, share something. So what's your advice for people who might be caught on social media or caught on what they call vanity metrics? What's your advice for those?
I mean, vanity metrics are important, but the funny thing is, when you let go of the vanity metrics, that's when you're likely to go viral. So every time I've had a piece of content go viral, it's always been when I just like YOLO sended something. But every time I've been like, let's post at the right time, let's use the right hashtag, let's spend hours there. It just flops. So every time I've gone naturally viral, it's always been a YOLO post.
Okay, I love that. Thank you for saying that, because I have found so much peace in just posting without any type of, oh, I'm going to go record this thing at this angle at this time of day, and then it was driving me nuts. So I just decided if I like what I had to say, I'm going to post it.
Yeah, no, I think it probably works well, honestly, is because when you're focused on all those random like angles and all that stuff, your energy is getting dispersed. And when you're in the flow state, your energy is focused on creating the best piece of content that you could. And once you YOLO post, like, the right people are going to find it anyways. If the right people find it and shares, great. If it doesn't, that's cool too.
Yeah, try again. I like that. Okay. So how do you really kind of balance the spiritual and the financial? Because a lot of BOSSTIEs I've seen are either super creative and don't really have that business mindset, or it's vice versa. They're super business mindset and can't get to the creative side. How do you balance yours?
So it's not a balancing act. They're integrated. So the spiritual is part of the financial, and the financial is part of the spiritual. So it's never one or the other. It's always just both.
It's always both. So how can you help somebody see that it's always both? Because I think a lot of people definitely separate the two.
So for me, but what's been really helpful is the meditation aspect. So I start my daily morning with a morning meditation, set my intention for the day. Like, I'm going to help people. This is going to go well. Calls going to get crushed. And what that does is it creates a reality where all those good things happen to me. And once you see it actually work, you're just like, okay, the spiritual stuff isn't just woo-woo. It's like, okay, there are good ways to make money, and there are bad ways to make money. If you make money in bad ways, it comes back to bite you. And if you make money in good ways, it's good too.
Yeah, I like that. I definitely like that. There is something in letting the day come to you. A lot of times I had to say, you know what? Today is just going to be a good day. And even if I just say that, like, let's not even put anything else behind it, I actually, at the end of the day, go, today was a good day. So
if you want, I can get like slightly esoteric in an explanation.
sure.
But there are, based on Hermes Trismegistus, he's like an ancient philosopher, but there are 3 planes of existence.
Okay.
There's a physical, there's a mental, and then there's a spiritual, and they all reflect each other. So to actually go out and say something, you'd have to actually be thinking about it. And then you have enough energy in the mental plane because you've actually said it. So you've been thinking about it, whether you know it subconsciously or consciously. There's a lot of energy in the mental plane and it drops down to the physical plane. So that's why it's saying, be careful, be really careful about the words you say and how you treat yourself, because words are spells and curse words are curses. So the fact that you said today's going to be a good day, verbalizing that is actually really powerful.
That was me putting out that type of spell, but like a good one on myself of that this would be a good day. My grandmother used to say something like that about watch your words. She would be very, very harsh with us if we were like mean towards ourselves. Like say we couldn't learn something and we might call ourselves a name or something like that. She would stop us right there and tell us, no, we don't talk to ourselves like that. So it's cool to see now that it wasn't just grandma being weird. Like she had like a reason behind all of that.
Grandmas are goated.
Yeah, they're awesome. And it's kind of one of those things where you don't realize until you start getting older. Like my grandmother is awesome because she lived like all these years and made it through all this stuff. And because we're so young, we don't see all that.
Yeah, he was like, Grandma, what are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, maybe like, so my grandmother left like a little diary and we were able to read about her life. And I thought it was so cool because I got to really understand my grandmother was a badass. Like, let's just be real. And we had no idea because she would just do it in the corner and then come back and take care of her family. So we never saw like that cool part of her. But I thank her for leaving that extra part because it kind of helped to see more than just that front. And I think we all have this forward facing self versus our real self. And I noticed being an entrepreneur, if we focus too much on that mask, that things don't go too well. So what do you say to somebody who still is maybe pretending to be an entrepreneur? They haven't told themselves that they actually are an entrepreneur yet.
So if you're not pretending to be an entrepreneur, you're not actually an entrepreneur. So if you want to be something, you don't think it's like if you want to be a best-selling artist or best-selling author, you won't become a best-selling author once you get the accolades. You get the accolades once you decide you're a best-selling author. So just realize you're an entrepreneur. Just go. You're an entrepreneur in your own way, and you are creating your own reality, whether you know or not, and that's your business.
And I like that. I like it. It's in your own way, that there's not like a good or bad ways to be an entrepreneur. It's all about just...
All words are made up anyways, so you can make your own definition.
I like that. And I like this neutral. I like how you're kind of helping me rewire my brain right now, so I appreciate that. Yeah. So you mentioned that you kind of have like meditation is definitely in your day. What are other have-to practices that you do as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so as an entrepreneur, like I have multiple companies, so my day can be pretty chaotic. And I probably have some ADHD, so I love jumping around different stuff. Because what I do is I go to whatever excites me most, and that's usually the best thing for me to do anyways. And that's trusting your gut in live action. But for me, it's like I need structure at the beginning, structure at the end. So I wake up every day at around 4:20 because I find that funny. And then I meditate. I set my intention for the day. That creates a good day for me. And then right after that, I answer some emails, go to the gym, sauna, get back, shower. Now I'm ready for the day. And because my day is so chaotic, it's just like a cluster of just random meetings and doing stuff. So I just kind of go by my calendar during the day. If I can squeeze a hike in nature, I try to get that in as much as possible. So I do like 3 to 4 midday hikes a day or a week, and it's fantastic. And then I close my day with Muay Thai. So I have a set beginning and a set end. And closing the day with Muay Thai it really brings me back to the present moment. And it's not only is it a great workout, like it's one of the best workouts you can do. So I'm surrounded by a good group of people, and it forces me to focus on the activity. So if something happens in the day and I'm thinking about it during Muay Thai, I would just get hit. And that's honestly really annoying. And then you're just like, oh, okay, well, I need to stop thinking about this. I need to focus on this guy. And then you're just completely focused on that. And then you feel good after.
I love that. I started doing random hikes throughout the week. My other thing is baths. I take baths in the random middle of the day. That's my meditation. And my last thing is I go on long distance runs. I've been able to clear my entire mind. I think the repetitiveness of just moving your feet just kind of gets it all out. I've realized after 10 minutes of running, you don't care what else happened during your day. Like you don't care. You're just trying to focus on breathing and making your time after that. So I like that you have a very structured, unstructured entrepreneur lifestyle. It's very nice. Last thing, I wanted to get into more of your apps. I wanted to, you're really taking a look at AI. What do you think is the future with this? And why have you decided to use this in your business?
Yeah, so I think AI, like all technology, it's a neutral technology. It can be used for good ways. It can be used for bad ways. I view the positive way. I think AI is going to help people leverage their creative mindsets to produce products and services faster with the aim of serving other people. And this will encourage authenticity, because if you can produce products faster, you're going to do best with the products you actually care about. Like before AI, if you wanted to create a business, it would be much more work. It'd be much more, there'd be time costs, you have to have a bunch of skills, you have to pay a bunch of money. Mm-hmm. But now with AI, you can turn a thought into a product much quicker. So I see people all around the world creating products and services that they love, that help people. And I think that's going to be overall good for people. So instead of fighting over a set pie, everyone's going to increase the size of the pie for everyone. So I think it's going to be a good future.
That's really an interesting way of thinking about it. When it comes to relationships, I know you have your dating app where you're changing that. Please, entrepreneurs are always telling me I have a hard time dating. How am I going to get to find my person? And it sounds like you have a solution for them.
Yeah, so we put users in the position to succeed by working on the back end. So what dating is, it's the first ever AI-powered matchmaking service. And what we do is we leverage AI to create profiles and matches based on someone's digital footprint and their chat history. So for example, if you were to sign up for the app, you create an account, link your social media accounts, chat with Cupid. It creates a bunch of tags on the back end describing you as a person. And then it would make matches based on those tags. And this works well because what AI is really good at is pattern recognition at scale. So it's going to pick up on stuff that work well for your specific tag set and then make matches based on that. And the cool thing is, the longer you're in the app, the more you tell it, the smarter it gets about knowing you, is it gets better at matching you. So if you're an entrepreneurship lifestyle, you understand it's like, okay, well, not everyone can go to lunch on a Tuesday. It's going to pair you with someone who can. And the best part about this is the intention behind the app. Because if you think about most dating apps like Tinder, Hinge, or Bumble, what happens if they match a happy couple? That couple then leaves the app, resulting in them losing a paying customer. But with our app, if you match on the app, it switches to relationship butler type of thing. So you can ask it like, oh, like let's say we matched, it would take both our digital footprints and be like, oh, where would we like to go on a date? Oh, her birthday's coming up. You may want to suggest this. Hey, we're having this relationship issue. Please help us. And the reason this is so this is so powerful and dynamic is, think of it like a layer 2 built on top of ChatGPT. So you get all the ChatGPT benefits, but the issue with ChatGPT is it's one-sided. It's basically a reflection of the user that people don't realize. But like, let's say you're using ChatGPT to ask about someone. It's like, well, why is this person responding like this? ChatGPT is just taking your inputs that you've learned about you
and regurgitating
it. Where you usually think you get information, but since dating, it gets both sides of the picture. It can actually give good advice. And we're building out friends, group chats, and all that stuff. So like, you have like 8 people on the app. You're like, oh, dating, find me 8 people who are into museums. It can do that. Or it's like, hey, you have a group of friends. What should we do? It can do all of that.
That's awesome.
Business-wise, we're going to turn into a networking app too. It's like matching colleges with interns, matching entrepreneurs with entrepreneurs. It can do.
I was just gonna say that. I was like, this sounds like the perfect thing for BOSSTIEs, because this is what I do. I have a social club, and that is what we do. We basically match people with what they need. But yours would be a lot less manual work on my end, and it seems like it would help people find like their perfect boss bestie. That's a wonderful, wonderful thing that you have. How long have you been working on this? Because that's the biggest question that I think a lot of people don't know, how long it takes to set something up.
Yeah, so this has been roughly 2 years in the making, but it went live a month or 2 months ago.
Wow, how well is it going?
Oh, it's going really well. So the thing is, like, we're doing targeted launches, so we're targeting LA first.
Okay.
And so we got around 1,000 people on the wait list. People are using it. And since we just went live, the sweet thing is people are giving feedback. They're talking with Cupid. And so with AI, we can rapidly iterate and give features that they want. So the app is growing at an exponential rate. And the cool thing is about this app is every person who uses it, every single time you chat with the app, every time anyone chats with the app, it gets smarter and smarter. So at this moment, it's the worst it's ever going to be. So it's only getting better.
Wow. And that's so awesome that it's so multifaceted. It's for dating, it's for networking, it's for everything. And then and I feel like maybe it'll find patterns in people and how we think. Because I know a lot of times we go through dating phases and like what we're looking for, what we're okay with, that type of thing. And maybe it could match people based on their dating phase, level of commitments, things like that.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be able to do it all and better than honestly probably the people can.
Yeah, I would love to see. I would say like you should try to match it against a matchmaker, like a professional matchmaker. See if you could get a better match. That would be really cool.
It's gonna be like the curve where the professional matchmakers like this, but AI, and eventually when it breaks through,
it'll overcome.
It just overcomes it.
Yeah, hopefully they can help. So last thing that I want to ask you is, what is your advice for anybody who's afraid to get started?
I'd say fear is one of the biggest tools of the devil. So there's a courage mindset and there's a fear mindset. I always take the courage mindset, because if you're in the fearful mode, you just drain yourself. Like you start overthinking and then you're just draining energy, which should be redirected at what you want. So the thing is, wherever your attention goes, your energy flows. So if you're thinking about what you don't want, you're going to get what you don't want. But if you think about what you want, you're going to get what you want. So always focus on what you want versus what you don't want to happen.
I love that. Thank you so much, Eric. Is there anything else you would like the BOSSTIEs to know? Where can we find your dating app? Where we can get in touch with you? If you have any more questions, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so I'm always down to help. So if you want to reach out, my Instagram is Eric McHugh. The dating app is live on the Apple App Store. And a bit of advice that someone told me that was really impactful was, you're always creating your own conscious reality, whether you realize or not. And when you're building a business, just follow these 2 rules. Don't harm anyone and don't take anything away from anyone. And you should be chill, because karma, we all know, is a real thing. So always follow that.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being on the show, and we are definitely going to stay connected. And when you start launching in Atlanta, let me know. We have a lot of BOSSTIEs that we could definitely help you hone this AI system and find them some love, find them some friends, find them some connection.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you later.
Later.
All right, bye.